Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav.
And I'm Harmit.
And this is a Game of Thrones. Chapter 6. Catelyn. In this chapter,
the Meister brings some master news, and Jon's gonna be happy.
First off, Maester. In this chapter, we don't get the stand-up comedy we were promised. Instead, there is a secret message.
What stand-up comedy?
Don't you remember? You thought this was gonna be a funny chapter because Catelyn was gonna be going around telling people off, or like, that's what you said last time.
Oh, okay. I didn't say stand-up comedy.
Well, you said comedic.
Okay, alright. So, definitely was not comedic.
Okay, no. Well, why do you say that?
It was actually very serious. I think this was the most serious chapter we've seen so far, other than obviously the prologue, but that didn't really count. This was it was very intense, and I was like, oh my god. And we were finally getting to like...
Are you finally intrigued and not bored?
There was plots, and I was like, oh my god. And like first she started and she was like, tra-la-la-la. And I was like, oh, I was right. Ned and her are just gonna be talking about this thing. And she was like, oh, like I was about to like comfort him. And then the Maester came in. The Maester came in, and I was like, oh, another plot. And then the secret message thing happened, and then the Jon thing happened. Like, there was just so much, and I was so intrigued, and it was really, really good.
Okay, if you think this chapter was really, really good, you have a lot of great stuff to look forward to.
Compared to the previous chapter, this chapter was real, or the previous chapters, this chapter was really, really good, because there was actually stuff going on.
Okay. I'm glad you liked it.
I'm gonna be mad if they do this, and then the next 5 chapters are just more exposition, and then they have a good chapter. Oh, he's definitely gonna do that, isn't he?
I can't say.
He's definitely gonna do that. This is just so, like, if you just start reading, you're
no
hooked.
Comment.
Oh my god, he's definitely gonna do that. He's so mean. Whatever.
Alright, so... why don't we just start with your 60-second summary? Unfortunately, last time I forgot and said 30-second. So this time I'm going to be fairer and give you 60 seconds as promised.
Okay, let's do it.
Let me get my thingamajig.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we start the chapter. Catelyn and Ned are in bed doing their thing. And then they get up and they're kind of just like talking. Like, so Ned's like, no, I'm not going to do this. Kat's like, no, you have to. This is going to bring us such honors. You can't deny a king. They're not like other men. And that's pretty much her whole, duty, honor. That's literally her family slogan. So then that happens. And then the Meister comes in and he's like, oh, I have a secret message. And the secret message is like to help you see or whatever. And it's a hidden message from her sister, Lysa, who's kind of sounds like Lysol,
30.
But she's like,
Lysol.
Sorry, but she's like, sorry, what was I saying? Oh, she's like,
Lysa.
She's like, the Queen Lannister killed my husband Jon, not your son Jon, and so that happened, and then she's like, oh my god, no, you have to go serve in the North, and they're like trying to like divide up
serve
the kids.
In the North.
Or sorry, serve in the South, like with the king, and so
55.
So pretty much the kids get divided, and she doesn't want Jon, and he gets to do his thing that he wanted to do.
Cool, stop. Okay, there's just over a minute. You like get distracted by random facts and then you're like, Lysol.
Yes.
Well, hopefully she keeps very clean.
Oh my god, stop. That was so low.
You're the one who brought up Lysol.
I didn't mean it as a joke. I was just like, fun fact. Lysol was developed.
In the middle of your 60-second summary. Because you had all that time. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, let's start at the very beginning. I just want to bring up how she's describing Winterfell. And, it just sounds like... it sounds really great and kind of gross at the same time.
Yeah, like
built
warm
over natural
springs.
Yeah, it's built over natural hot springs. So it's great and warm in the winter. Like, wouldn't you want your walls to be radiating heat all the time? But then in the summer, they're just like sweating
In the middle of
they're damp to
Winterfell.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And then like they're like the stuff that like their blankets are made of like fur. And I'm like, oh my god, imagine being like sweating and then you're about to go to bed wearing fur.
Yeah. I mean, currently there's snow outside and it is like the end of summer. It's not even winter yet. So it would be pretty great for, you know, the years-long winters that they have to deal with.
Yeah, true.
So pros and cons, you know.
Yeah.
I think they just need like they need to set up some cots in the courtyards and like sleep outside during the summer months.
Oh my god, yeah.
I miss those days when
just
we used
sleep
to do that.
in the snow.
Well, in the summer, like the really hot summer.
Yeah, but the really hot summer still have snow. Just go sleep in the snow if it's really hot outside.
I don't think they all have. I don't think they have snow in like the dead of summer. I thought
like, they had
since it's
Winterfell. Don't they just have snow all the time?
Maybe. I actually don't know. I think they have snow like starting in fall. Like they start like
okay.
It's kind of like they would. I think if their year is not like their seasons don't follow the yearly schedule, so it doesn't really line up. But it's like they would have snows in August, but in June it would still be nice.
Okay.
I think. That's my assumption. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, let's not dwell on this for too long.
Okay.
So, when we like enter the scene, they've just had sex, and Catelyn wants to quote unquote give Ned another son because, you know, that's her purpose.
Yes.
Breeding.
Yes. Family duty honor.
Yeah.
Her entire personality is just based on her house traits.
Yeah, I mean,
which is fair because
that's
met what
Ned?
She's been. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but with her, I noticed it the most. I was like, because Ned is kind of an unconventional king, and we kind of get that a little bit from this chapter. Sorry, Lord, my bad.
Yeah,
I just did it again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, okay. So they're talking about the fact that Robert wants Ned to be his hand, and Ned plans to refuse him. And Catelyn doesn't think that's such a great idea because Robert is a king and eventually he would suspect that Ned opposes him and that's why he doesn't want to be his hand.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ned's like, I know the man. He's like a brother to me. He would never harm any of my family. And then Cat is like,
you used to know. You knew him. And I was like,
the king is a stranger to you. Yeah. Because, like, in her mind, she's remembering the antler and the dead direwolf.
Yeah.
So she has all that going on.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, it's great honors. Sansa will be queen. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. This part was kind of boring to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Let's get to the interesting part.
Yeah.
Maester Luwin comes in, and first off, sorry, I'm going to go to the bit of a boring part, which I found really interesting.
Okay.
Can we talk about his sleeves? Can we just talk about his sleeves? He has
the pockets.
Sleeves
yeah, no, that was interesting to me too.
and...
I literally wrote in my book, I was like, they used half a page to describe these sleeves. Like, dang.
Yeah, well, like, they're so big that he keeps books, messages, artifacts, toys in them.
And he just pulls them out of nowhere. I'm like, buddy.
Yeah.
That's just his
and
little
Catelyn's
backpack.
surprised that he can even lift his arms with all the stuff he keeps hidden in them.
That's fair.
I like those sleeves. You know, if like, you know, the fight for pockets isn't like getting far, let's fight for sleeves with pockets.
Oh my god.
Instead of pants with pockets.
That's funny.
We don't need them jeans if we have some nice floppy pockets in our pocket sleeves in our nice floppy sleeves with pockets.
Say that 5 times in a row.
I cannot. Okay, so just gonna say, big fan of those sleeves.
Yes.
Moving on. So, getting to the important stuff.
Okay, so Maester Luwin. Yes, I got the name, guys. I did it. Maester Luwin interrupts them, just having this conversation, and he's like, "Oh, there was a wooden box lying on my bed. they're like, sorry, or sorry, not on my bed, on my table. They're like, sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, like when I was napping, there was just a box. And he's like one of the visitors from the south, like in the king's,
Party left it because there was nobody else who could have.
Yeah, exactly. So they left it, and they're like, okay, like what was in the box? So apparently he opened the box. I forget what it was, but it was something to make
it was
you
a
see.
lens.
Yeah, it was a lens. And Catelyn was like, a lens is something to help us see. And he's
like so obviously. It's kind of like, we get it. Okay, you don't need to like be so heavy-handed with the explanations.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
And then
apparently the box had a false bottom. Ooh. And there was a message there for Catelyn from Lysa Arryn.
Wow.
And this message is written in a secret language, which I want to know what that language is. It's probably just like they switch up the letters, like
yeah, literally.
Probably that. It's like all the consonants are the vowels and the vowels are the consonants. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so this somebody went to a lot of trouble to get this here. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that somebody in the king's party brought it because,
yeah,
the Lannisters wouldn't have brought it because the Lannisters were the ones who apparently killed Jon Arryn.
Yeah.
They wouldn't bring this message.
And she ran away from
She went to the Eyrie.
She ran away from like the main Lannister who was like, oh, I'll like make your kid into some sort of warrior.
No, she wouldn't let her son be fostered with Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
Who is Daddy Lannister.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, she was like, no, well, now we know why she didn't want that.
Yeah,
if she thinks that his daughter killed her husband, then makes sense. So, okay,
going back to the who brought the message, it can't be the Lannisters.
No.
It can't be the king because, then he would know. It wouldn't be like such a big secret. Who do you think it is?
What's his face? The dwarf. The nice
Tyrion.
Nice dwarf.
He's a Lannister.
Oh, but like, yeah, he's a Lannister. Okay. He's the only cool one we know from the party.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there's like hundreds of people in the party and we definitely do not know all of them, so it could just be like one of the servants who brought it.
I do think it's someone significant. Like, it could be a servant that turns out to be significant. I do think it's someone significant. Lysa doesn't seem like, hey, servant, bring this.
Okay.
It was definitely someone significant, but maybe not, like, of the utmost honor.
Okay. Well, I don't remember who it was, or I don't even remember
so then
if
it's
it
not
ever
important.
Comes back up again. It may not be important. I just noticed it, and I was like, somebody in the king's party. I wonder who.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Because, like, if Lysa sent it, she has, like, she's a powerful, like, she's a great lady. She's a lady of a great house and stuff, so she has the power to bribe someone to send it, or,
That's true.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. And the servants, like, as we know from, like, previous battles, the servants don't really, like, like, not all the servants are, like, duty, honor of the person that I'm serving, Like,
wait, previous battle? What do you
mean?
Like,
I forget what it was, but maybe it was the last chapter. We were talking about how, like, someone was, like, in a position of power, and then, like, they lost a battle or something, and their servants were like, well, now we're cheering for the other side. I forget exactly what it was.
It wasn't that. I think it was when Rhaegar was killed and his rubies fell out into the river.
That's what I was thinking of.
And, like, everybody, despite their, like, allegiances, was, like, scrambling around looking for the rubies.
Yeah. So, like, it would be pretty easy to bribe them. So you're probably right.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the secret message. It's like all top secret CIA type thing. Catelyn burns the message so that it, doesn't get into the wrong hands.
Yeah. And
then she's to Ned, she's like, now you gotta become the Hand and find out what really happened and, bring this person to justice.
Yeah.
And Ned's, he has a great quote. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
He says, "The South is a nest of adders I would do better to avoid." I enjoyed that line.
Yeah.
But, he eventually has to agree because this is, like, putting the whole kingdom at risk, basically, and the king himself.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. So then...
What do you think of this? Do you think he, like... Do you agree with Catelyn that now that he now that there's like, we know that Jon Arryn was murdered, do you think Ned should become the Hand? Does that...
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because think about it, you haven't seen the king for like 30 years. If you don't become the Hand, when are you going to see him again? Except for if he decides to battle your kingdom. You know, like, they need to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, so I see. Yeah, this is the only chance.
Yeah, and I think it's also... I think, like, if, you know, the murder of Jon Arryn, if it isn't just like, oh, I don't like him, like, if it's significant, then we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to be like, why the fuck is this happening?
Yeah, like, why was he killed exactly?
Yeah. And what does this mean for the future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Ned reluctantly agrees, and
he's like, you're staying here.
Yep. And Catelyn's like, no, I could never. And he's like, nope, you have to.
There's literally no one else. Yeah.
Yeah. He says Robb and Rickon, the baby, will stay with her because Robb needs to learn how to rule and Rickon is just a baby. So
yes.
Cat, in the meantime, will rule in Ned's stead.
I was right.
Like, your prediction kind of came true.
I literally, that was the prediction.
Nobody had to die for it.
That was the prediction that I thought was the least likely to happen. And it happened. And I was like, oh my God. Because I don't know. I think like when we first started reading the books, I just didn't interpret this as a world where even for a little bit, like a lady could rule at all.
Right.
But I guess these are very special circumstances.
Yeah.
So.
And... well, you thought it would be because Ned died. Yes. He's not dead. Jon Arryn
could still die. He's going somewhere where
that's true.
His like one of his dearest
to a nest of adders.
Died. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you know what? The entire time they were doing this, like, you know, obviously we're reading this from Catelyn's perspective. So Catelyn's like, I don't want to lose my baby. I have to say goodbye to Bran. You know, like she's doing her whole emotional thing because it's her perspective. And I really wanted to feel bad for her and be like, oh, dang, like she's losing all her kids. But at the same time, I was like, neither of you are bringing up Jon. That's what I was thinking about the entire time.
Well.
And then Maester's like,
Maester.
Maester's like, what about Jon? And they're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, before we get to Jon, I just want to, like, get to Ned's reasoning for why he's bringing who he's bringing.
Okay.
Sansa's going to the south because she's going to marry Joffrey and she may as well go now. Mm-hmm. And Arya, quote-unquote, needs refinement.
Yeah, I underlined that. I was like, what does that even mean? I was like, excuse me? So she's like, because from what I got from how she described it, like, later in the chapter, she was like, oh, well, like, Arya's, you know, from our, like, fancy royal house, so she's definitely not gonna just like marry a rando, so she needs to be refined, quote unquote. And I'm like, excuse me, let her be what she's doing, what she's up to.
Yeah,
it's not like, you know.
Yes. And Bran, he wants to take with him because he's heard that there's bad feeling between Robb and Prince Joffrey. What do you think that's about?
Maybe just like, you know, being the one who's always told, you're gonna rule, and then it's like this other person who has that same like attitude thrust upon them, and then they just like, it just like too
alpha
similar.
Males colliding.
Yeah, alpha males colliding, little too much ego in the air.
Yeah, so Ned's plan is to take Bran with him, and since he's such a lovable kid, he'll just befriend the princesses and all will be good. And, you know, Catelyn's like, yeah, you're right. All she can say is, like, keep him up the walls. You know he loves to climb. Which is like, oh, that just makes me want to...
I feel like Bran's gonna be my favorite character.
Really? Okay.
All right. Well, so far. I like Bran and Jon. For some really weird reason,
you like Jon?
I really like Jon. For some reason...
you're not alone. A lot of people like Jon, so...
I'm literally so weird. Like, people who pity themselves are like... okay, well, everybody technically, like, in a way, like, people who, like, spend too much time pitying themselves, obviously, it's like, okay, like, you know, you have other things, but then for some reason, I always like those people in, like, stories and stuff, For some really weird
All
reason.
right.
Their pitying
Okay.
just works in my mind for some reason to convince me to like root for
I
them.
have another character who is very heavy on the self-pitying who's going to come up later that I think, if that's your attitude, I think you may like
they
that
might be a
person.
little intense, and then I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? But I don't know,
Yeah,
we'll see.
well, I think Jon, for me personally, is just a little too much. I was writing the description for Jon's, like the episode we did on Jon's chapter, and I
Yeah.
was like, in this chapter, we find out that Jon's a bastard. Who knew? Seriously, this kid is so emo.
Oh,
Like, that's what I wrote because... Yeah, sorry to anybody who was offended by that, but like, he's so emo.
Okay, but
I
you're
am
so
too emo.
mean. That's so mean.
See, I have all the emo inside me. I don't need external emo emoing me up.
That's funny. Alpha emo.
Okay, yeah, and then we get to Jon,
Yes.
and this is when like Kat starts thinking about Jon and like where he came from and how she doesn't know who
this
Jon's
is very
mother
sus.
is.
I just assumed like, oh, like he just didn't want to. I don't know. I guess we just never really thought about Jon and like why he's still with them if he's a bastard. Because I don't know. I guess it is weird that he keeps him like in the same vein as like all of his other kids, like his legitimate kids.
Yeah. Well,
I
at
guess
least
it is
to
weird.
Kat.
Yeah.
She says that like the Northerns are different. They do this kind of stuff. Where she's from, they wouldn't do this.
Yeah. So her entire vibe
And-
is just, this family's different from me. But
So she's thinking about like the rumors she's heard. She thinks
Yeah.
about how Ned killed Sir Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning, who's like a really cool fighter, single-handedly, and then he took Sir Arthur's sword back to his sister, Lady Ashara Dane, who is a tall and fair maid with haunting violet eyes.
violet
Ooh.
eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, Daenerys and Viserys? But then I was like, I don't know. Because I don't know. But anyway, that was just my only connection.
So far, the only people we know with violet eyes
Yeah.
are the Targaryens.
Yes.
Now, this person seems to have violet eyes, so that's interesting too.
Yes.
But when Catelyn brought this up to Ned, he just put a kibosh on it. He was like, "Do not speak of this ever again."
Yeah.
End of discussion, basically.
Yeah. And I don't think he doesn't do that, from all their conversations we've seen so far. They've been very
This
like
was the only
equal,
Yeah.
thoughtful, respectful conversations that they have. And then this one time he's like, no, I don't even care what
Just
you think. Like, I just shut up.
Catelyn thinks that whoever Jon's mother had been, Ned must have really loved her because, like, whatever Catelyn said, she couldn't get him to send Jon away, so...
Yeah, dang.
There's something there. Who do you think his mom is? Do you think it's this Lady Ashara Dane?
No.
No, you don't? Okay.
No, I don't. That just feels too easy.
Do you think Ned loved her?
I think, you know what I think?
What?
I think that, okay, I think that maybe he wasn't like, oh my god, I'm in love with you, but it was like something else. Like she was like a friend of his. Wait, his sister died, right? Or was it just his brother?
They both died.
Yeah, okay.
His brother
Maybe
and
it's
sister.
like his sister's like best friend, and like her husband left her. Like I don't. I just feel like it's like an. I don't think it's like, oh, he loved her. I think it's like some sort of unconventional. He loved her. I don't know why, but I just do. I think it was like unconventional. It wasn't like, oh, I met you. I love you.
It wasn't like necessarily like romantic.
Yeah,
like,
I think it was
feelings.
like maybe another kind of love. I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
But it's definitely gonna get spicy. I definitely think that's gonna come back up. Well, obviously that's literally his identity right now.
Yeah. Well, Kat could never bring herself to love Jon, and the fact that he looks more like Ned than any of her sons, it just made it worse.
I was like, dang.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody's got some insecurities.
Yeah.
Yes.
She says, I won't have him. And Ned can't take him to court because that's just not the kind of thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
And Jon wouldn't be accepted in court because he's a bastard.
Yeah.
So Lewin is like, excuse me. Benjen was like, Jon wants to join the wall. And, well, Catelyn at this point is like, yes, I could kiss this guy. He's so great. This is a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Because, she's thinking, Benjen Stark doesn't have any kids. Jon will have, like, a parent figure, and then Jon would take the oath, and then he would have no kids. So Catelyn's grandkids' claim to Winterfell won't be contested. So win-win-win, I guess.
Yeah.
In her mind, at least.
Yeah. Well, can it not be contested because he's a bastard?
Yeah, technically not, but, like, the fact that he looks more like Ned and...
So,
blah,
once
blah,
again,
blah,
it's
I
just
don't
her
know.
insecurities.
Yeah, really, yeah,
Okay.
basically. Because,
Okay.
like, everybody knows that he has 3 sons. Like, they would have to go through all 3 sons before ever even considering Jon, and then,
Right.
like, let alone his kids.
Right, that's true.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, what do you think? Ned reluctantly agrees to this as well. There's a lot of reluctant agreeing in this chapter.
Poor Ned, man. He's
yeah.
trying his best, and then he gets, like, everything thrusted on him. There was an interesting point, like, near the end of the chapter. 1 second. I'm just gonna flip to it. I like the Meister as well. Maester. He seems like a good advisor. I feel like I can trust him. I'd be really mad if I later found out I couldn't trust him. Like, I would be really, really mad. Because I trust him more than, like, most of these characters that we've gotten a point of view from.
Yeah.
But he says something at the end. He's like, Ned's like, oh, a boy of 14. What is it with all these people and being like, oh, he has to give up having children? Maybe it's just because, like, I, at this point, don't really want kids. So to me, I'm like, is that the biggest thing he's giving up? But I guess it is the biggest thing he's giving up. Well, that's kind of like
would be his, like, legacy and blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Okay, whatever. So Ned's like, oh, he has to give up so much, a boy of 14. And at this point, I had 2 thoughts, okay? First of all, I was like, okay, but you're like, oh, he has to give so much up at 14. But then with Bran, you were like, oh, he's 7. He can go with us. But I guess it's a bigger thing. He's not giving anything up.
The thing with Jon Snow, it's also not just like giving up kids. You need to remember, they don't have birth control. So it basically means he can't have sex. Which, like kids may not be a big deal to him, but sex may be. So,
okay.
All
right.
That...
oh,
that
that's
could be important.
Okay, right. That makes sense. All right.
And he's 14, so, like, he's just hitting, like, puberty probably. So it's, like, his time.
Right. All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then in the next line, Meister's like, yeah, a hard sacrifice, yet these are hard times, my lord. His road is no crueler than your own or your lady's. And I was like, dang. And at that point, I was trying to think. I was like, who has it harder out of the 3 of them?
I think it's all around a sucky situation, because Ned's gotta leave his beloved North, Catelyn's gotta get, like, be separated from her kids, Jon's gotta go be up on the wall.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, but I was like,
yeah,
dang.
it's all really a sucky situation.
So they got a fortnight before they gotta go.
Yeah, they gotta prepare for stuff.
Yeah.
Any final
something
thoughts?
Something wolf related is definitely gonna happen before they leave. And then everybody's going to be like, thank God he's gone. But then Jon's last thing is going to be like anger because something bad will happen with his wolf. And then he's going to be like, I hate these people. I'm never coming back. It's going to be more,
Wow, I hope nothing happens to Ghost. But...
no, Ghost will do bad to other people. Nothing will happen to him.
Oh, I see. So Ghost is going to get in trouble for doing something bad.
Yes. Oh, Jon can take Ghost, right? It's like Hedwig. He can take Ghost. He'll have to. I think so.
Okay,
he has to.
And okay, let me see. What are your predictions for the upcoming chapters? Okay, so do you think this whole thing is actually going to work out, and, like, Ned and Sansa and Arya and Bran are going to go to the south, and all the other people are going to stay in Winterfell, and Jon is going to go to the Wall? That's all going to happen as planned?
Yeah. I think the kids are definitely going to be like, sorry, what the fuck? But I think it's going to happen because they're really
not going to be happy with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, they gotta, like, some of them gotta leave their homes, the others
Jon
gotta be
is
separate.
probably gonna be the only one that's gonna be like, yes.
Yeah, because he wants to go to the wall.
Yeah, and in a million years, he would have never thought his dad would give in so easily, but now his dad's gonna be the one to be like,
Right.
do you want to go to the wall, sweetie? And he's gonna be like, duh.
Yeah.
But
Last time you thought that King Robert was gonna interrupt and, like, interfere and get Ned to send Jon to the wall. That's not what happened. But do you still think that there's gonna be any kind of interference from the king?
I think maybe, like, something minor. Just, like, I think that'll happen once they leave.
Okay.
Like, go with the king, and then the king will be like, hey, Sansa, go do this.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
like, you know, and just, like, be a prick. I feel like the king's gonna end up being a prick. Because he can.
So
he's the one who
king is
can be a
going
prick.
to.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
What about the Lannisters? They're gonna be all happy with this?
Probably not. Because it's another...
Well, elaborate.
Because... Probably not. Because, like, right now it's, like, it's the Lannisters and it's Robert, you know? Robert doesn't really have anybody except for them, like, specifically, because... But then now it's gonna be Ned's gonna come in, so like let's
have a say.
Yeah, so let's say
Right.
when Jaime Lannister would like be like, "Hey Robert, let's go do this," Robert's gonna be like, "No, I'm doing this with Ned because he's my like second hand," you know.
He's gonna stop hanging out with his Lannister friends and start hanging out with his Stark friends.
Yeah, not necessarily. Well, obviously hanging out because he literally has nothing to do, and it's not like he does his jobs well anyway. He's like, "Oh, I'll deal with it later." So he's obviously just gonna be like, "Hey Ned, let's go like have sex with random women," you know, like he's definitely gonna do that. He's definitely gonna
Do you
do
think
that.
Ned is gonna agree to that?
I think he'll have to.
Okay.
I don't think he's
Alright.
gonna want to, but what was I saying? Oh, so like maybe because Jon Arryn was the king's hand before, right? That's
Aaron.
yeah. So that makes me kind of worried for Ned's life. Like maybe she wanted like her brother to be the king's hand.
Oh, so
But
like now
now
that there's another person in.
Yeah, so
place,
I don't think they're gonna
they
be
gotta
happy
get rid
with
of him
it because
too.
they're gonna be like, really, we went through all that trouble and now you're making someone else the king's hand, you know?
Okay.
Because they probably just
alright,
assumed
so
that he would make it them.
basically all around pray for Ned's life.
Yeah, literally. Exactly.
All right. Okay, I think that's good for predictions. All right. Do you want to flip to the next chapter?
Let's do it. Arya.
Okay, who's that?
That's the girl who needs to be refined.
Yeah. Well, are you interested in getting to know her?
I finally know their names now. I'm like Jaime Lannister.
Yeah,
Arya.
look at you. That appendix really paid off.
No, literally the entire time I was like flipping back and forth. They were like Maester. I was like, who? They were like Sir Roderick. I was like, who? But
Yeah. It's good to be able to do that though.
yes. But yeah, I want to get to know her because I feel like I'm gonna like her more than all these pretentious people.
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna get to
Alright.
the north or the south. Sorry to that one listener who was like, "You need to get out the map," and even after getting out the map, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sorry. So they're gonna go to the south. I don't know why everything in my head here is the north, but they're gonna go to the south, and I feel like poor Sansa is just gonna kind of be like, okay, all right, you know, and then like I'm not really interested in Rob right now. But
okay.
So I think Ned and Arya are gonna be the lifesavers in the south. They're gonna be like interesting, and they're probably gonna be the point of views from the south.
Okay, well, we shall see. We shall see.
What if we got a Lannister point of view?
What if? Would you like that?
I feel like it would just complicate my feelings.
Well, who would you want if we were to get a Lannister point of view? Which Lannister would you want it to be?
Tyrion. Duh.
Okay, well, because we know him a little bit, but don't
Yeah.
you want to get to know any of the others? Don't you want to know what the queen is thinking?
Actually, I would like the queen one. I feel like with
Okay.
the other guys, I would just be like, ugh. You know, like her
Okay.
brother and like her dad, I'd be like, okay, shut up. but
Okay, so either the Queen or Tyrion?
yeah, maybe
You'll
like
take either of those?
Lysa too. That would be fun.
Oh, Lysa Arryn. Yeah, we don't really know much about
And
what's
then it would
going
be
on
the
there.
thing like where like we know, but the people in the story don't. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that's it for the chapter. Did we miss anything?
Okay, you know what would be interesting?
What?
You know how this chapter, next chapter is gonna revolve around Arya?
Yeah.
So what if Arya had like a secret life going on? So her dad would be like, okay, well, you're coming with me, sweetie. And she was like, she'd be, in her head, she'd be like, no. Like, let's say she had like a secret like love affair going on, even though she's only
She's
like literally
7
9.
or 9 or something.
I don't, okay, but in this world, they like to like, you know,
Okay.
like 7-year-olds getting wed off to the Khalazar king, you know,
13,
like that's not
but okay. I think
Daenerys
they
is
tried
oh, yeah,
to
she
wait
is.
until double digits at least, but okay.
Okay, but whatever, it's fine. Like, I don't know. Or she's like out like I don't know, like I just feel like she's out doing something secretive. Like she seems like the person who like sneaks out of the house every night to like go do something. I don't know
Okay.
what, but to go do something.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yes.
And then we'll know. Okay, I think that's it for the episode then. Thank you to everyone for listening. Join us on our social media and on our blog/website. All the links will be down below. The website is popculturesymposium.tumblr.com. Most social media is at popculturesymposium, except Twitter, which is at popsymposium. And also you can email us at popculturesymposium@gmail.com. Finally got it down. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.